Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host, Chantele. Francis here. The trio is back to talk about episode 1, the real episode 1 of season 40, Battle of the Eras. Michelle, you're back. How are you? How is your draft doing? Give us all the tea.
I'm doing well. So far my draft, hey, I'm getting points this episode for sure. So put me on the board for now. Wow, it's so nostalgic watching it, and I'm loving the cast, but I'm terrified that we're losing so many people right from the beginning. I don't love that because I feel like they each have its own drama that it's like now we're going to get rid of a bunch of exciting stuff at the beginning, which I don't love, but we'll get into it.
And Matthew is here. He's been holding down the fort as you've been off performing, Michelle. So, Matthew, how are you doing today? And how is your first episode doing for you?
I have to say, I agree with Michelle for the most part, that I don't necessarily love that we're just going to get rid of so many people so quickly. Something that really stuck out to me was at the end of the episode, I believe it was the last confessional, Olivia mentioned that there's a lot of beef going on with the cast, and this is the stage to settle the beef. But how fun is it going to be if the beef is all settled after episode 2? So that's what I'm worried about. I mean, it looks like we're due for a crash course, at least with Era 4, of Theo and Polly, Olivia and Nerys. Those are two of the big rivalries and storylines heading into the season. And if that's broken up midway through episode 2, a little worried about that. And I don't quite understand why the producers are deciding to do 8 people getting eliminated in episode 2 when they could just do a male and female elimination, and that would take you to episode 16. And I assume the season will be longer than 16 episodes, anyways. So I'm a little concerned about that. I mean, obviously the cast is great, but if we lose 8 great people right off the bat, I'm a little nervous there.
I agree with both of you. Now, as much as I had fun watching this episode and I love seeing everybody, I love seeing all the rivalries be showed to us again sometimes, and everybody like talking about the history that everybody's had. I love all that, of course, nostalgic, amazing. But I'm like, why couldn't they just have a regular season and then have a huge purge mid-season? Like, just be like, it's just a slaughter and everybody, whatever, do this invitational into the final or to the second half of the game or something like that. What are you going to say, Michelle?
That would be great because then you'd still get a lot of this drama for at least half the season, and like do like one elimination per or two, one female, one male elimination per episode. And everyone's like, oh, there's still so many people. And then, yes, have a purge. And it's really sad because we lose a lot of great people, but at least we got to see them for 5 or 6 or 7 episodes. Yeah. I don't know. There's no people. I don't know. I still probably would find reason to not like that, though. So I'm not sure.
I mean, we'd probably find reason to not like it, but we would be entertained, likely.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
the thing is, like, it doesn't need to be a massive purge. Right? Even if they do it halfway through the season, they could just do a normal purge where one man, one woman leaves. Like, there's plenty of episodes to get rid of people. And obviously, it's going to suck to lose people, but it's just, why are we maximizing the suck by having 8 people go at once?
And especially since, like, Matthew, you're generally team entertaining people who are not necessarily the most athletic. And so how are you feeling with, your draft team, a lot of them being vulnerable in this position?
Well, not even looking at the draft, I just feel not great overall. I mean, look at the women that are already in jeopardy. We have Katie, Kellyanne, Naya, and Nerys.
Mm-hmm.
4 of them are already at risk. I mean, Amanda is shit out of luck here. She's going in, and based on the preview that we just saw at the end of this episode, doesn't look like she's got much of a chance of coming out of that because we saw Naya doing balls in, and I don't think Amanda's going to win at that. We saw Era 4 is doing a hall brawl. If Nerys goes into a hall brawl against any of those women, she's not coming out. Kellyanne.
How is this good TV, guys? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, Katie looks to be doing something physical as well. And if that's against Anissa, she's not coming out. So it looks like right off the bat, we're going to be probably losing Katie, Amanda, and Nerys, which is certainly not fun. Kellyanne, I hope can stay.
Who's
It
Kellyanne
looks
going
like
against?
we
And
don't
then
know yet,
possibly, but
but
who's
It's
in?
going to
it's
be
gonna be
Cara
Cara or Aviv.
or Aviv.
It's going to be Aviv. Maybe she'll be, because I feel like we've seen
It's going to be
Kellyanne.
Cara. It's going to be Cara.
You
Based
think?
on
If it's Cara, that's worst case scenario because then we're guaranteed to just lose so many star
Yeah.
women right off the bat. And I don't want to lose Kellyanne either. So
I definitely don't want to lose Kellyanne, and I hope it's Aviv, but based on what the vibe from Laurel and Bananas, I don't think there's any way they're gonna not throw Cara in. I don't know.
I
We'll
feel
see.
like the opposite, actually. I mean, we'll get into it a little bit more as we talk about the episode, but I kind of feel like they're, because Laurel wants to win, like as a team, more than I think her rivalry with Cara needs to be played out. And so
I
I think
disagree with that.
you think that she's gonna go and be
100%.
rivals.
I think Laurel cares more about getting Cara out than winning,
Yep.
than the team winning. Personally,
She doesn't want her in the final. She doesn't want her to make it to another final next to her. She doesn't
But
want her
her
to be there.
reasoning for not having what's her name? Emily be a contender here is that she wants strong people to be as part of her team.
Yeah,
So
but the history trumps that. She's too stubborn.
see.
She's the most stubborn, one of the most stubborn people. Come on.
But didn't they kind of mend things a little bit before this, or they're mad at each other right now?
Yeah, and even Bananas, the way Bananas was talking, I don't think he's even gonna put his ego aside enough to not throw Cara in.
We've
He's
seen
just gonna be
Aviv
like,
in the previews.
but that could mean Aviv beats
Just like next episode.
yeah, it's hard to say like about the previews because like sometimes stuff will be in the previews that don't make air anyways, unless that we saw Aviv doing challenges that haven't happened yet, which I don't really recall. But I mean, it's also possible Aviv could go in against Kellyanne and beat Kellyanne. I mean, we don't know what they're going to be doing. It's not like Kellyanne is unbeatable in eliminations. Um,
That's the problem. She is
Aviv was in the
beatable.
trivia. Oh wow.
Oh,
I mean, Kellyanne versus Cara Maria. That's so like not something I want to see at all.
no.
So yeah, I mean, if that's the case, Kellyanne is probably going to go home as well. So right off the bat, you're arguably losing the most entertaining female from all four eras, which is just
I love Kellyanne.
Complete, and maybe not most entertaining, but most like outspoken, most dramatic. Well, yeah, that's not. I mean, look at Era 4. It's like you're going to be left with Casey, Jenny, Olivia. I will give Olivia credit; she is fairly entertaining. Michelle, like, is kind of, but I don't know. I'm like, I don't love just getting rid of all the weak links who happen to be the most entertaining in episode 2.
I don't know why the producers are doing this though. And the thing is too, they had to have an idea of who were going to be the weakest link of these teams. And why wouldn't they maybe give them something that's going to play to their strengths at least? Make it a well-rounded elimination with the puzzle and maybe something not necessarily physical, but like agility based or something.
I think Nerys finished the puzzle first for the women in Era 4, but Nerys didn't know how to paddle. So she's going into the water and she had no idea where to go. So it's like, all right, well, you can be as good at puzzles as you want, but if you can't do the other half of it, you're screwed. And I'm pretty sure Nerys did finish first from the puzzle. So yeah, it's just tough. Like, I mean, I don't know what goes into their decision making there. It seems very unnecessary, and they're already paying the cast anyways. So it's like, why are you paying, say, Mark Long, for example, who probably makes quite a bit of money, and then now Mark, who would most likely be guaranteed safe, is at risk of going home. Also, that Era 1 bullshit with Derek. Why are you volunteering on episode 1? I can't with that. If that's going to be the vibe of Era 1,
going up against, we all know it's Derek.
Oh, Derek volunteered,
and Derek's gonna win, like, because we see him in the preview or the trailer, him being hoisted up by everybody and being like, hey. So like, I think that means he was all, I'm gonna go in down there and like, I can't do this to Darrell, and then beats Mark, or Mark decides like, I can't go against my friend, so you can have it. You need it more than I do. Bullshit. I mean, I did say that Mark was probably going to fall on his sword for, I don't know if I said with you guys, but I definitely did not want to choose Mark on one of my drafts because I knew that he'd probably fall on his sword for his team.
Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting from Mark all along too. Like he doesn't really need it as much. Like he's made his mark and he'll fall on the sword. But if Derek is also willing to do that for Darrell, like Era One will be so boring if all the men are just volunteering to go in
I
every
mean, I
week.
think this might be the last time that it happens, or maybe Derek will do it again. But like Darrell said, he's not going to do it, and I don't think that he's going to.
I could see Brad doing it. I could see Brad being like, you know what, Derek went in last time, I'll go in next.
Don't tell me they're
CT
all
won't
going to
do it. We
be
know that.
like Big Brother 26 right now, with everybody just volunteering to go on the block. Nonsense. Yeah. Okay, so the beginning of the episode, we hear that 400 players have competed on the challenge, and there have been 94 champions. It's wild when you think of it, numbers like that, huh?
Yeah.
400. So this is their tagline. So Era 1 started it all. Era 2 introduced fresh meat. Era 3, rivalries and romance. Era 4 brought the game global. How do you feel about how they named these eras?
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Era 3 is rivalries and romance.
Well, it just means that that era of seasons were all of the like rivals and X's seasons were within that.
Oh, that
a lot
makes
of
sense.
those. So it's kind of like a lot of seasons were about that. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. Hi, Diva. Hi, everybody else in the chat. Thanks for being here, you guys. So Kay thinks that they're playing nice because it's early. So that's the Era 1 vibe. Mm-hmm. I could see that, right?
Hey, I think to give her credit, I think Anissa had a little bit of fight in her. Like she wasn't just going to go down willingly. So I appreciated that. I think, yeah, the men on Era 1 definitely just playing nice. But I do think some people were not playing nice. I think Polly was outspoken. Theo was not playing nice. So it was really good to see.
I think we're talking about
Theo
Era
back.
1, but yeah.
Yeah,
good to see Theo back.
Yeah, the men on Era 1 for sure. Yeah, Theo having a bit of spice to him in episode 1 was nice to see. His World Championship was not like a great edit or not a great showing. So it was good. It was nice to see Polly and Theo still under each other's skin.
Yeah. KB says out of 400 players, my fave is still Big Daddy Bod CT. Do we agree? I do.
Yeah, I mean, he always just has those moments of like heart that come through, and he's so good at translating them into his confessionals that just makes everybody just swoon and just be like, oh, he's so great.
I mean, he's pretty big
so
right
much.
now. This is the biggest he's been, I would say.
And still coming out on top of his team. Like he's so
true.
Smart. He's so good at. He's just knows so well how to do well. He's like figured it out.
Oh, Jessica, this is also a good point. So Era 3 was also the era where they allowed Ari the One people to play on. So that makes sense for Era 3 also. Yeah, it totally does. It's smart. You guys are so smart. That's very true. So Avery has actually quite a few more confessionals than I was expecting her to have, because when we were talking about the cast and the episode 0, we're like, Avery who? But she actually spoke a bit. And think that her era, I guess that's Era 3, is an era that is able to blend with all the other eras. Do we agree? And how are we feeling about Avery?
I think Era 3 to me is the best, is the front runner. So I do agree with Avery. I think they're just so well insulated because you have people like John A, who literally started in season 21, and then Tori, who started in season 30. And I mean, Tori, for better or worse, has really ran the 30s of the show, but she's still on that Era 3 because she just made that cutoff. So, I mean, people like Tori and Devin and Jordan have all their allies in Era 4. And then someone like John A is like very tightly connected to Era 2. So I think they are definitely very well set up. And they're also still in their kind of physical peak or close to it for the most part. So to me, that era is the era to beat if they stick with Era.
Thinks that Era 4 is the future of the challenge. How do we feel about our future?
Okay. I mean, I think physically we're looking good, but I don't know, entertainment-wise, a little bit lacking in Era 4.
So if he's like, if Tori debuted a season later, she would be on Era 4. Yeah, 31.
Yeah, and then John A. a season earlier, which I think John A. was actually supposed to be on the season before, but she had like a visa issue or something. So it ended up pushing her back a season, and that's why her and Derek Chavez are on 2 different eras.
Oh, right. Yeah, because she's pretty old school, and I was like, why is she in that? Like, I wasn't fully thinking about it, but yeah, I definitely can see her. She makes more sense being a little bit earlier, and your explanation as to why era 3 has such a good hold because they played with new school and old school players. So yeah, okay. So John Day was supposed to be on Fresh Meat too, but she was replaced by Evelyn. Wow. Okay, that's I have never heard that. That's good tea. Good tea. So TJ arrives, and it was pretty epic how he arrives. We see CT getting all teary-eyed. How do you feel about CT getting all emotional?
We'd love to see it.
I wonder if this is going to be CT's last season. I feel like we're kind of like building up towards like maybe that being an announcement. No, not to say that it's like necessarily going to be true if like 2-3 years from now he wants to come back, but I do wonder if maybe like CT kind of sees the writing on the wall. He actually did like an Instagram live earlier today, and I caught a couple minutes of it, and he was basically saying like he's interested in like doing some other shows. He doesn't know if his body can handle it anymore. He's had to lose like 25 pounds since the show ended. So I wonder if CT is just kind of catching up to him. And I don't know if he necessarily like he seems to be very happy to be here now, but I wonder if he is kind of feeling like this might be the end of the road, which would suck, but I wouldn't be that shocked.
But he says that he's happy to be home. He can't leave his home.
I mean, he'll do like All Stars maybe if that keeps going, and also like we've seen him on Traders. He'll be on different
The Goat maybe
types of shows. He could be on. Yeah, he could be on.
There's another one that's coming out in like a week or two. What is it called? It's like a mix between The Circle and The Traders, I think.
Oh, that's the one with Xavier, right?
You're correct. I knew what the name was before, but now I'm forgetting. Someone in the chat will know.
Well, it's funny. CT was saying in his live that him and Bananas were contacted by a show to do a dating show. Like the two of them were going to be on a dating show.
Wait, West and CT? Oh, sorry, not West.
No,
CT and who?
CT and Bananas.
Bananas.
That they were both going to be on a dating show, and CT was like considering it, but then he decided like, nah, I can't. Like, I'm too old for this. I can't do it.
But like, I would like them if they're both old, like having some people that are age appropriate. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think it was more like how no, we're not going to go on like Love Island games when we're like 45 and it's like all like 21-year-olds.
Ew.
I mean, Bananas will.
Bananas would because he's talking to all those Love Island people that were dumped, and he's like really trying to get them to like him, and it's really embarrassing. He's like flirting with them and talking about how like he's a big challenge, bro. It's so bad, it's so embarrassing. So we see her TG going through the eras, talking about how they're all epic. I'm kind of feel as though we should have saw Jordan kind of assimilate with the rest of the cast. Like the end of episode 0, he's walking in with his cowboy hat and everybody's sleeping. And then now we're just at the challenge. Like I would have liked to see their reaction to him showing up.
I feel like there just wasn't much because I'm sure they all knew he was coming in late. You know what I mean? Like they were missing someone. They obviously talk. Like they knew he was coming and they knew he had his race. And so he was going to be coming late and maybe they're annoyed that he's getting special treatment or whatever. But like, yeah.
So what was Love Island Games? That is ridiculous. Yeah, well, we did talk about this. They knew he was coming. There's no way that Tori didn't know. We talked about this last week, so fine. But like, it just wasn't. It was unresolved to me. If that was supposed to be some sort of weird cliffhanger, like, why didn't they resolve that? But we don't understand what these producers do sometimes at all. They're playing for $1 million, and this is the Era Invitational, where they are going to whittle out all the weak links. It's called Light It Up. Now, what do we think about this Era Invitational? So what they're going to be doing. Let's see if I can remember this challenge. So they're only going to have 32 players that are going to be going into the second challenge, and that means that 8 players are going to be eliminated after this era invitational. So they're going to be racing to their own puzzle. It's a number 40 that they have to put together. Then they're going to paddle out in these little saucers out to one of 100 buoys and gather their 10 light bulbs, paddle back to shore, put their 10 light bulbs into their 40, and that's their time. So what do we think about this as a daily, I guess?
I didn't hate it as a daily, except, yeah, I mean, it's always hard when you have like a paddling element. But yeah, I didn't hate it. And I like that they'll still get to have an elimination. So it's not just you're out because of the competition. You know?
Oh, that would have been beyond brutal. Thank God they didn't do that one. Matthew, did you like it?
I thought as a challenge, yeah, it was pretty good. I think like no complaints with the challenge itself. Now with the idea of the Era Invitational, like we already touched on, I really don't like that, especially to start the season. But as an actual challenge, like if this was just a daily challenge, I actually do think it is a pretty good challenge. I like the nighttime portion. I think the fact that there is multiple parts to it, where it's not just finish a puzzle, it's not just the paddle, there is both things combined. And we saw it go both ways, where someone did better at the paddle, someone did better at the puzzle, and different people won doing it a different way. So I do think it was a pretty good challenge there, but as like a concept and twist for the game, I really, really dislike it more than most twists that we've seen on the show.
Well, that being that, the male and female from each of the eras are going to be going straight into elimination, and the winners of each era is going to be choosing who that didn't lose to be going in to compete against them in their elimination. And they're going to also get an opportunity to plead their case to the winners. It seems like from the previews that this is a trope that's going to be going on for at least part of the rest of the season. But so I do like the idea of like the people that end up in the bottom are going to be the ones that are going in, but definitely do not need to have this mass elimination here. It's pretty shitty. It sucks. I immediately thought that Rachel was going to win Era 1. How'd you guys feel? Michelle, were you excited when you saw how well Rachel was doing?
Yeah, I was like, at least one of my players is doing well. And yeah, not surprising that she would win something like this. Yeah, I was happy to see that, definitely.
We do hear Cara talking about how she has to beat Laurel, but Laurel gets out of her puzzle first. She is off like a light, but Cara isn't too far behind. So it seems like Cara's been working on her puzzle ability because she wasn't super bad at it.
And she gets past the paddling part seemingly faster than Laurel because Laurel had a head start because she finished the puzzle significantly, like enough time before that it seems like Cara did the rest of it really fast because she literally was like 5 seconds behind her at the end.
Mm-hmm. And CT is out first for the men. So as you guys have said, dad bod and all, he is still top dog. I'd had to say poor Tony because he just couldn't figure out why his puzzle wasn't fitting. And I'm like, you gotta just we got a CT tip, I think, around this point, right? How do we feel about CT pro tips?
Yeah, they can.
I thought it was funny.
Do you think they'll keep them on throughout the rest of the season, or do you think it was just for this invitational?
I wouldn't be shocked if we saw more like that, if they're gonna make it a trope. I mean, I don't know if I want to see it like through 25 episodes, but it is kind of fun, like similar to like the Danny McRae, like Kiki watch and like things like that, where I wouldn't hate if they do it a little bit, but I don't know if they need to do like 3 or 4 every single episode if CT makes it all the way to the end. But I think it is like a cute, like little like fun element to the show.
I agree. And what are some other ones that we've seen over the years? So you mentioned Kiki. What's his name? Delson had one when he hadn't won, right? They're talking about how many eliminations he hadn't won or something. Yeah. Any other ones you guys can think of?
No, nothing I can.
I feel like they do it sometimes, and then I'm like, I just don't remember. Mm-hmm. Not at all. Okay, so we hear Anissa's stats here. She's had 14 wins out of 26 eliminations. I was like, she's tied with Cara Maria apparently, but do you know offhand how many Cara Maria has had in how many eliminations? 14
Yeah,
and how
Cara's
Definitely less than
she has a
that.
better percentage than
Yes.
Anissa because Anissa is just over 50%.
Mhm.
Cara's percentage is better, so surprisingly, Cara's been in less eliminations, which honestly feels weird to me to hear that because it seems like Cara gets thrown in so many eliminations, and I mean she does obviously, but to hear that Anissa's been in more felt a little off.
AK says that the editing is misleading. Laurel said on Instagram that she left everybody except CT, everybody behind. So yeah, I mean, I can understand the editing being a little bit misleading. That's one thing that I didn't like about the challenge. Like, it was cool that it was night, but it was hard to see who was where, who was doing well, who was still on the puzzle, where everybody was lining up. Like, it was just a little bit like, yes, they'd have their little thing on their Chiron, but it was just a little bit hard to follow for me. But it was still a cool challenge. CT's second pro tip is don't fall out of your boat. A lot of people were having trouble with their boat. How would you two do with this paddling portion?
I think that's something I'd be fine with. Like I've done like canoeing and kayaking, so I can paddle pretty well. Um, the balancing and like balancing at nights like might be a little tricky, but I think I would do okay with it. It seems like a lot of people had trouble with the puzzle, and to me, like it didn't seem like the puzzle was that hard, but maybe it's harder than it looks. So I think that might trip me out because even someone like Anissa was struggling with the puzzle, and she's typically pretty good with stuff like that.
Well, and so was Amanda. Tori got out before, like, finished her puzzle before Amanda did, which is unheard of.
Yeah,
to me.
I was surprised by that.
So the pro tip was like, if you were doing a puzzle, you got to look at all the pieces and see any additional information that you can get by any shapes that you want to line up. So maybe because it was dark, they couldn't see that there was like a circle and a triangle. That would have been helpful for them to be able to match pieces. But yeah, I was shocked by some of the people that got out first because a lot of the puzzlers were not too fast, which I'm like, boo. Boo. Corey has been practicing puzzles with his children. How do you I was actually impressed by that.
I was impressed and shocked that he did so well. I mean, come on.
Very impressed.
CT is Puzzle King.
Nope, they did not follow CT's pro tips at all. So out of era 2, Laurel is going to win here. And then poor Cara Maria comes in second and wants to know why do you always beat me? They do have an older sister, younger sister that hate each other kind of energy. Because, like, Cara, you don't need to be better than Laurel. You don't need to get your approval from Laurel. Like, you're great on your own. You don't need this rivalry. I mean, it's for our entertainment, I guess, but man.
And it's just like Cara continuously lets it affect her. Like she still does well, but she's gotten better, but she doesn't freak out as much. But yeah, she clearly just still wants the approval. And has this thing. And I mean, similarly with Laurel, just wants to crush her because she sees how good she is. And sees
also,
how
it sucks to say this, but sometimes when someone is so like begging for your attention, sometimes people just want to be even meaner. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work that they're going to be nicer to you if you're like desperate for their attention and their approval. It's just like they want to walk all over you sometimes. And so it's unfortunate that their dynamic hasn't changed in 15 years.
Yeah, like when Emily was like, this is like crazy that nothing has changed. I'm like, yes, like Emily hasn't been here in so long. And she's just like, what is happening?
Yeah,
yes,
she does.
Laurel does 100%. 100%. My stock in Laurel honestly has lowered since her winning, which I know is crazy to say, but since she won this last season, I'm just like, I don't appreciate the energy. I don't ride for her the same way that I used to. I don't know. It's a little sad, but
Yeah, because
Feels right.
you're hoping that at least at some point people learn and grow to a certain extent, right? Like the way that she kind of dumps on Cara, it's like you don't need to do it. It's enough. It's enough. But I do understand the dynamic that they've created for themselves, that it's hard for them both to break out of it. But I wish that they could figure it out. So that's why I'm hopeful that she doesn't throw her in. But maybe you guys are right and she still will.
I'd be shocked if she didn't, especially if Bananas alluded to Laurel getting to make the decision for the women and he'll
Oh,
make the decision for the men. So the fact that Bananas even said that just made me think for sure. Like if Bananas isn't gonna protect Cara, then I think Cara is gonna go in for sure.
KB says that Cara is annoying, but Laurel is unnecessarily mean and cutting towards her. It's true. It's a little bit much. Mr. Disaster says, isn't this the 5th time that they have been teammates on a challenge season?
Well, they did 2 seasons of Rivals together, right? And they did Cutthroat together, and this season, and then War of the Worlds.
I think they only did
So, yeah.
one Rivals together.
Weren't they Rivals twice? Isn't that the whole thing? Is that they were Rivals 1 and 2, or
I don't think Laurel was on Rivals too.
why do I think they were Rivals twice?
Maybe they were. I don't think they were though.
They did Rivals
Rivals 1 they
only?
definitely did.
Just
Rivals
one.
3
Okay,
was
I'm
male
wrong. I'm
female.
wrong.
So yeah,
Oh,
so they've
okay.
done 4, but they've been on teams together 4 times, which is still quite a bit.
Cutthroat,
Obviously.
Rivals, War of the Worlds 2,
And this one, yeah.
this one.
But they're rivals all the time.
Yeah, I just remember them being like a duo rival twice.
Oh, Cara was with Cook once, and who was Laurel with? Was she on? She was on that.
I don't think
season.
Laura was on that season.
Oh, so you're probably just thinking that she should have been on that season to be another
Yeah.
rival with Cara. I remember that final actually. So CT wins for Era 1 men. Rachel wins for Era 1 women. Tina comes in second.
I was so proud of Tina. Hey.
Hey.
She did a puzzle and she paddled. Queen.
Get in
Serving.
second, like before so many of these other people, which I was very happy. And then I had to write down, oh Lord, Leroy. I think Leroy coming out of retirement might have tainted his standing as, you know, the rootable underdog.
The funniest part of the Leroy of it all is like Leroy had a confessional during all of this where he's like, yeah, like me and Anissa are considered the best to never win. Like, who considers you and Anissa the best to never win? Like, who is telling you this, Leroy?
Maybe
like,
Cam.
Yeah, maybe Cam is saying that Leroy and Anissa, like when I think best to never win, like with all due respect, like they're not necessarily the first two that come to mind. Now they might be up there, but like to me, like personally, like if like we've talked about it a few weeks ago. Yeah, Corey to me is better than Leroy at the challenge.
I would say Corey. I'd say Kellyanne. I'd say.
Ooh, ouch. Ouch. Oh.
I would still say Leroy maybe, but not Anissa.
Taboo says, I told you during the draft that Corey and Nelson are greater than Leroy. I mean, we want to hope for him, right? We want to believe in him. We do. BB95 says Leroy isn't even the best to never win on this cast. Jesus Christ.
Like, I mean, Corey is like undoubtedly to me better than Leroy. And if Corey can now do puzzles too, like that just like cements it even further.
Well, that's the thing is Corey was so much less smart than even Leroy for me, like in the past, that I was like, no, Leroy always is going to be above. And also Leroy's way more likable, has, you know, entertaining, good story, you know, all that. Good friendships, good bonds in good places. But like, yeah, if Corey can do puzzles now, he definitely steps way above Leroy because that's definitely a shortcoming for him.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but I also like, I think looking at Era 4, like, I think Polly, Theo, Kyland, and Horacio are all better than Leroy. And like, it's crazy because they've only done a few seasons, but like, to me, like, they're like I would have more faith in any of those four winning
They're
than
also a
Leroy.
decade younger than him, so let's
No, not
like
really.
okay, like 8 years. What?
How
Orasso's
old's
like
Leroy?
27. Leroy's like what? 35.
Yeah, but I mean, like Paulie's in his 30s, Theo's in his 30s. Kylan is probably the same age
Theo
as
was
Leroy,
okay. I'm
honestly.
just like just debunking a little bit, but Theo was an Olympic athlete, so and he's 6'6".
Yeah.
He's gonna be better than Leroy
Well,
at
yeah,
many
yeah.
things.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but to me, like, yeah, like, straight up, Theo is probably better than Leroy. Now, like, he is an Olympic athlete, so it makes sense why he would be. But yeah, to me, just like looking at this cast alone, like, unfortunately, Leroy is like one of the people that I think have the least odds of winning. Has Nehemiah ever won a chat? He's won one before,
I
right?
think he's one in those groups.
No,
No?
no, Nehemiah has never won, as far as I know. He's made it.
Let's
So if
see.
Nehemiah's never won, like I think Nehemiah is better than Leroy. Nehemiah might have won a team one back in the day, but
Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah.
he is. He won the Gauntlet 3. He was on
okay.
the winning team on Gauntlet 3.
Gauntlet 3. All right, so Tori wins for era 3. Michelle wins for era 4. Her number 1 is Olivia. Horacio wins for era 4. Corey wins for era 3. Banana wins for era 2. But Laurel and Cara both beat him. They just had to remind us of that, which is hilarious. So for era 1, it's between Katie and Anissa. And I'm like, Katie, I just want you to do better. But this didn't really fit into her wheelhouse, like
It's fine. Like that to me, that was so funny when Katie was just like bawling her eyes out there, like she didn't
with
want to
Tina.
move. She's like telling Tina, like, this is so embarrassing. It's like, yeah, it's like a
Yes.
little embarrassing, but it's also like Katie, like Katie obviously sticks out like a sore thumb on this cast, as in like she just like does not care to be there as much. Like she doesn't like she isn't in it for the physicality or anything. So I was chuckling when Katie was having her like tantrum in the boat
Yeah.
there.
With Tina, but Tina just trying to give her some moral support. It was cute.
I mean, her winning all those eliminations in a row way back in the day when everyone would kept throwing her in was just like, for me, always will be iconic. Like winning those
we love
crazy ones
Katie.
where she was underwater and just like refused to come up. Like just the tenacity of her.
I thought
Winning an elimination with a cigarette in her mouth. She did the fly swatter elimination. Katie is just so iconic, has so many good moments that even if she's only going to be here for an episode and a half, I mean, it's just so good to see her. And I mean, Michelle, we were just saying before we hopped on, like she looks great too. Like she looks as good as she's ever looked. So I don't know, like I hope Katie does get that itch to maybe not the main show, but if she keeps sticking around All Stars for a bit, I think like that would be super fun. It might be more in line with her like competitive spirit at this point.
we do get a confessional where CT talks about Katie only being on vacation or thinking that she's on vacation, and Katie does say this in her confessional. So CT's really has his finger on the pulse this season so far. So Nerys gets last, and she's speaking to Horacio in Spanish, and she's really upset for the fact that no matter what, she's going up against somebody that is gigantic compared to teeny Nerys. Like Nerys versus Casey, no, not great. Nerys versus Jenny West, are you kidding me? Even Olivia, she might not be great, but she has size on her, at least like probably like 60 pounds. And Michelle is taller and is a little bit more physical, but she would have wanted to go against Michelle, I think. Sure. But Michelle won that heat or that daily.
Yeah,
so
I would put my money on Nerys against Michelle in an elimination for the most part, honestly, because she stays calm under those. Like Nerys is, we've shown has been good at them, but yeah, she doesn't really have much of a chance. Although I will say, like, I understand the concept that Casey is like super well-rounded and what you have you. And I know Jenny West has only been on one season, but I think I would put Jenny West above Casey in terms of like, when did she show a weakness with things like puzzles and stuff? Like, I don't remember seeing her be particularly weak at those things or particularly great, but neither is Casey.
hasn't she had a freak out over puzzles before?
I don't remember.
Casey's worse at
I might be
puzzles,
wrong.
if I
Who?
remember correctly. Casey was worse at puzzles, if I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
and like Casey has never shown to be super proficient in any of the mental stuff. Not bad, but not like so good. And so I don't see her as someone who's like super well-rounded, but she seems intimidating and well-rounded. And because she's so good physically, I guess that, but Jenny is very strong and has good endurance. And I don't remember her freaking out over a puzzle. Maybe she did and I just forget, but you know what
Yeah,
I'm
to
saying?
me, Jenny is the one I would least want to face.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, I think the issue was it's not even really an issue, but just to kind of nitpick there, it's like if I'm Nerys and Horacio here, the thing is, like, Nerys is most likely going to lose any elimination unless it's a puzzle. Like, if it's anything physical, she's most likely going to lose to all three. So in my mind, like, they have to be thinking, like, all right, who are you most comfortable beating in a puzzle? Because that's the only way you're going to win, anyways. So we want to go against the worst puzzle performer, and that very well could be Olivia. But I do think Casey is probably worse than Jenny. So to immediately rule her out, kind of silly. Like Olivia, like not great at puzzles. We saw Nerys did beat her pretty handily last year in the like endurance and multi puzzle elimination. So I don't necessarily think Olivia, if they do go that route, is the wrong call. But I just think, yeah, like Casey to me is more of a physical player, whereas I think Jenny is a little bit more well rounded.
I that's the thing. I completely agree. But I also think some of that influence is the fact that Nerys doesn't know Jenny. Jenny has less connections. So there's also that strategic part in the back of your brain. It's like, okay, I don't want to say I want to go against Casey because Casey is way better insulated socially as well.
Okay, so in Total Madness, Jenny. Oh yeah, she did talk about how she was doing on her phone. She was doing math puzzles on her phone. So I don't think that she's innately good at puzzles and stuff, but she might have practiced. I don't know if she practiced more since then, but I do remember her not being great at one point. But that's yeah, she did get better. I don't know. I think like I might have to agree with the popcorn muscles that Horacio was going to say, and that maybe she's just like, oh, I'm a super intimidating force, and people are not going to want to go against me. Because remember, as soon as she had to do the hall brawl against Tori, she wasn't able to win that, right? And like it was something that was out of her comfort zone that she didn't train for. So maybe she's done more training. I don't know, but there is a chance that Nerys could be better at something a little more agile. She's done more, well, I guess about the same amount of the challenge as Jenny has, right?
Yeah, I think Nerys has seen more
to-
eliminations, obviously. Wait, if Jenny lost to Tori, how did she stay in the game?
Wasn't she on the second season though? No.
Yeah, so Jenny did come back the following season and was in a hall brawl against D, and Jenny smoked D. So she obviously got better between. I mean, I think she was a little underprepared to go against Tori, and Tori is obviously physically stronger than D. So, but she did do a hall brawl the following season and absolutely killed D, and that was the season that Jenny ended up winning. And
right. Sorry.
remember
Okay. Yeah.
Jenny, that season where she won, like she killed that final. Like she finished ahead of Bananas, and they were running individually. So I think Jenny is like definitely a force to be reckoned with all around. So if she maybe started off not great at puzzles, I do think she has improved there.
And,
okay. Yes.
And so what she's done 2 hall brawls, and I forget what she did against Jen Lee. Was it a hall brawl
like
as well?
No, she had to like swing some rope over some contraption. And she also smoked Jen Lee there, but like, I mean, that was Jen Lee. So not like saying much, but that was more like physical / endurance, I'd say.
Oh, Taboo, ouch. What Nerys won again? Okay, she didn't win a season, yeah, but if there was a male and female for last season 39, she would have been considered a champion. So
I'm with Dabu here. I think on the flip side of that point, Chantele, if Total Madness had only one champion, like 39, Johnny Bananas only has 6 wins, and Jenny is a solo champion. So you can look at it both ways, really. It's like, yeah, Nerys probably should have won, But if the format of the seasons were switched, then Jenny would have been a solo champ, and that would go down as one of the most impressive wins ever. It's similar to a Turbo or a Cara Maria. Honestly, probably closer to Turbo because that final was fairly difficult when they had to go uphill in the snow. Um, so I definitely don't think Jenny is popcorn muscles personally, but I do disagree that Nerys, Nerys obviously is quite good as well. So I don't think she's a slouch, if that's what Dabu is insinuating here. But I do think they're both really strong.
Maybe this
I
is a
mean,
good point.
yeah, I mean, we don't speak of
Horacio here. Okay, so Theo sucks. He's going straight in. Naya also in last place, going straight in. Kellyanne also in last place, but she did better than the guys, but she was last for the women, which we were already saying that the women are way better this season than the men. What's with that?
I mean, it's about time the tides have turned, because there's hardly ever been a season where the women were this much so strong, right? Like, so I love it. I'm into it, especially with teams like this where it's so obvious. Like when you look at Era 2 and you're like, it's so clear how much stronger the women are. And that was never a thing. And it was always, how can we get the women out on our team? Like, how can we get them out so we don't have to run the final with them, you know? So I'm into it. I'm just sad that we're gonna lose so many people and
so many great people.
Some of my faves already. It's.
I think the issue with the men here is honestly, like, I do think the men are pretty strong for the most part, but the Era 2 men just bring it way down. And the women on all four eras are fairly strong. It's like a pretty stacked female cast on all four eras. But for the men, like Era 1, obviously pretty stacked. 3, very stacked. 4, pretty good. But Era 2, it's just like, oh god, like we really couldn't get Wes here. We couldn't, like, obviously, I mean, Kenny and Evan are not showing up, but those are like kind of Kenny, Evan, and Wes and Bananas are the 4 men that really dominated Era 2. So not having 3 of those 4 there, and you're kind of having to fill in their spots with all due respect, Brandon and Ryan and Derek. Like Nehemiah is pretty solid, but the other 3, it's like, yeah, they probably wouldn't be here if the other 3 guys were able to be there.
Mary writes, slouch how you did, but with an O instead of the A there. So Era 3 men are still out in the water. Devin apparently decides to swim. And we hear that Leroy is somebody that Devin wouldn't mind being out of the game, that he's a sneaky player, I think he said. What's the beef? What am I forgetting, Matthew?
I have no clue. That caught me by surprise.
I don't know. Like, what? I don't understand what's sneaky. Devin plays sneaky, but he describes it as not sneaky. I mean, it's good strategy the way he often plays.
But Leroy was not even that strategic. Is it just because he usually plays with Bananas?
To me, Leroy is like one of the most like trustworthy and like honest players in the game, and sometimes to his detriment. So yeah, I was surprised to hear Devin say that.
Was it when he was playing with KC? Did he ever throw Devin in or anything like that? Oh, maybe did he throw Wes against Devin, or is that a different season?
I mean, he certainly probably didn't save Devin, but I don't think he ever had like a solid deal he went against or something like that with Devin specifically.
I think the thing was, though, I think Leroy that season was more trying to get like Wes and CT out. I don't think he was necessarily like, actively targeting Devin, but maybe Devin was caught in the crossfires when they were trying to get Wes out.
Yes, Tyler would have been a great person.
Oh yeah, Tyler would have been a good person.
He's a winner. Yeah. Like, was it 2-time winner, isn't he? It'd be great. All right, so for the losers, Era 1 is Mark and Katie. We kind of knew that both of those people were likely going to be in the bottom before we even saw this season start. Era 2 is Ryan and Kellyanne. Ryan, I had a feeling. Kellyanne, I was hoping that she wasn't going to be there, but Era 3 is Leroy and Naya. I was like, okay, brutal. Era 4 is Nerys and Theo. I was like, oh my gosh, like brutal. Like the people that sucked. I didn't like it at all. And then just remind us the winners of Era 1 is CT and Rachel. Pretty expected. Era 2 was Laurel and Bananas. Era 3 is Corey and Tori. And Era 4 is Michelle and Horacio. Aviv. So we get a confessional from Aviv, and she talks about how she doesn't really have any connections with people. She was only on one season. She ended up winning that season with Jarrell, but she doesn't really see any reason for her not to go in. So do you know what, though? This could actually add on to your guys' thought that Cara Maria is going in, because if she doesn't see a reason for her not to go in, then maybe that was just like reason why she actually isn't going to go in, because it wouldn't make sense to her, you know?
Yeah.
So
and it just sucks because like we've heard Cara post about how like the season has everything and blah 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 blah, which like very much insinuates she makes it past the first elimination. So like that also gives it away if she is the one that
no,
goes
it's the
against Kellyanne.
giving it away, like, right? Because you mean that Cara Maria is
that Cara Maria is going to beat her,
right? Mm-hmm.
Because we haven't seen Kellyanne at a bunch of previews, and we've seen Cara post about how this season has everything you guys want. There's so many different storylines. Like, how would you know that if you weren't in the season? You know what I'm saying?
And she does do that Bananas podcast while at the house, so I doubt that would be in the first couple days, right? Or maybe
well, I don't know. Regardless, I don't want to know exactly when or what, but like, I don't know. I think it's pretty clear she doesn't get eliminated first, and I wouldn't expect her to lose elimination at the beginning. But like, that just tells me that there's a high chance that Kellyanne. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Carolina feels like there might be a redemption house. Or any thoughts about this? Or
I would love that, but I doubt it. But I would love that.
There's too many people. Maybe.
I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. I'm usually not a Redemption House fan, but they did do one for season 30, which was a pretty big cast. And season 30 also did that early kind of purge type of thing. So I wouldn't be completely shocked if they did do it. But I mean, it really just depends on like the format afterwards. Like I wouldn't want them to
Donnie
bring
says
like everyone back, but
that the format changes a gazillion times, so that could lend towards there being a redemption house.
Yeah, I would.
How many people
I would
came
love
back
to
in the redemption house from 30?
Well, they did a few different redemption houses, but I'm pretty sure initially it was Tony and Jenna came back in. I think it was just the two of them, and then later on a few others came back. I think Jordan, who won the season, came back from the redemption house. So CT came back from it. I think maybe Cara and Hunter. There was a lot. That redemption house was a little crazy though, because people got like voted into it. So it was a weird format.
Now, what do we think about Ryan? So this is all after the challenge and they're back in the house, and Ryan is talking to some of his other era people about how Laurel is going to be the poison of their team, and that we learned from Derek that Ryan took Nicole's side in this whole thing. Do we know what the truth is here? What happened?
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that. So the idea is Ryan took Nicole's side when all that drama happened with the wedding.
I feel like I was even taking Laurel's side there, so I don't understand how
could you not in that situation, you know?
Yeah, like maybe they were actually broken up or something, and like Laurel didn't think so, or I don't know, but I don't know why Ryan would take Nicole's side.
Well,
and then expect to be friends with Laurel still.
I'm pretty sure, and I might have heard this wrong, but I think Derek said that Laurel felt that Ryan took Nicole's side, but I don't know if that was actually the reality of what happened, or if Ryan was just friends with both of them and Laurel did not like that. I imagine there's probably more to the story, but I do know now Ryan and Laurel are very much on bad terms.
They are?
Ryan and his like Q&As on Instagram will always be like shading Laurel, saying that like she is like the nastiest person ever and all this stuff. So yeah, Ryan and Laurel are definitely not cool present day. And Ryan also will say like he would never consider being friends with Laurel again. So yeah, there's definitely bad blood there, and I do think
Really?
Ryan's also very tight with Cara now. So I think that's also part of it.
So now I love Amanda. Like she's in a bad position, talking to John A and Avery about what's going down. She hopes that Corey will stand up to Tori because they had some sort of pact coming in, or they've been speaking that they have nobody and they should work together. Um, do you think that Corey will be able to stand up to Tori?
But this is the
No.
thing, and this is also one of Corey's, in my opinion, things that aren't as great about his game is that he's not ever going to do that, and not that he should necessarily, but yeah, no, of course he's not going to even try to protect Amanda in this situation. And then Amanda doesn't do herself any favors because she's like, yeah, like I don't like you, I still don't, which was hilarious, and also like there's nothing she could have said to really change Tori's mind anyway at that point.
Laurel says that she wants to keep the team strong. And so, going to your point again, this could be, the red herring being like she wants to keep the team strong, but then she still throws in Cara. So, yeah, I'm convincing myself to agree with you two now. Polly says that Cara is anxious and she's, pacing in his room and I mean, I know this is the storyline that we're gonna have probably for a while this season, but I just wish that they had figured out how to deal with each other. Like you're both edging 40. Figure it out, please.
I'm nervous for Cara. If Theo gets what he wants here and goes against Polly in a hall brawl, and Polly gets taken out of the game in episode 1, I'm nervous for Cara's well-being throughout the season because Polly is like doing the talking for Cara. Cara does not really want to strategize much. And if Polly's not there to protect her and help her in the game, I do worry Cara is just going to be repeatedly the kind of punching bag for Laurel and all the numbers Laurel can accumulate. So I do really worry, and it does seem like Polly is most certainly going to be going in against Theo. And I just don't know if Polly has much of a shot at beating Theo in a hall brawl, which
0%.
yeah. So if Polly goes here, Cara is really going to be on an island. And obviously, I mean, like I say, like she's friends with Ryan. I don't know how much Ryan is going to be able to protect her when there's 30
he
other
can't
people
even he
coming
can't even
after.
keep himself out of elimination. Like, how's
Oh,
that gonna
Ryan
go?
could be going home also next episode. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I forgot that Ryan is going into elimination here.
Um so Kellyanne says that she will kick anyone's ass that they put her up against. I think she was being slightly sarcastic here, but we do like her spunk. Jarrell and TT are in bed talking about not having bunk beds anymore and being kind of old and rickety. I still love them though. Like I'd rather watch them talk about like, their achy bones than some of these other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Polly is the voice of reason. Are we going that far?
I kind of think that might be accurate right now. I mean, Paulie is kind of playing nice with a lot of people in the last season he did, and seemingly online and whatnot. So, um, yeah, I mean he's definitely I think the voice strategically amongst the two. So he's willing to let bygones be bygones for game purposes. So I don't know if Kara that's her strong suit.
Carolina here says, I feel like Kara thrives when she knows her game is in danger. I mean, I can't see a world where Kara goes out first here. Like, I just don't see anything that she can go up against
No.
Kellyanne that she will not smoke her in.
Yeah, probably that's the case. But I mean, if Kara's just still on an island, like, yeah, she does play well when her back's against the wall. But at the end of the day, the competition is so tough this season that if she has to go against Emily or Laurel or Rachel, Tori, Jenny West, like all these massive Casey, like eventually, like you're gonna get cut if you're not kind of trying to strategize and get in a better position. And that's why, like I say, I do worry if Polly leaves. I just think like nobody is going to help prevent her from getting in that situation.
Tina is a confessional queen, I have to say,
Mhm.
talking about Era 1 needing the lights out at 9 a.m. or 9
Yeah.
p.m. And at the same time, it seems anyways, that people are egging on Theo and Olivia, Laurel being the number one instigator. Laurel is smart. She's that army that you're talking about to be on her side is the people that she played on Ride or Dies with, I would say. Because she was definitely being like, ooh, kissy with them. And I think that was she being nice to Michelle with the
Laurel?
jacket? Yeah. 'Cause I think Michelle was in that group. Just
I don't
noticing, but I don't know if
remember.
she talked to her, but she definitely didn't seem to restoke that
Mhm.
you know, fight that they had or whatever. So Tony tells Corey that he has a better chance at beating him in a final over Jordan. So
Mhm.
can't believe Jordan is kind of an option here, like which I think is wild that he wasn't able to. I mean, I guess it's the paddling was challenging with one hand. I guess that's what it is. But I just expect Jordan to do amazing at everything. So it was surprising that he wasn't in first place.
Yeah.
Did he get second, or who was second in that group?
I thought Tony came second. I think Jordan, at least from what we saw, I think Jordan might have came third.
I feel like Jordan came third, but I don't know if they showed it specifically.
Yeah, I think when they showed Jordan finish it said he was in third. I might be I don't
And
know. A
then
lot
who
of
got,
people are posting on Twitter right now saying that it was all out of order. Like Olivia says that she came in third. Josh tweeted that he actually came in second. And the edits were like show Emily said that she came in third. So a lot of for whatever reason, I don't know why the editors would do that, but a lot of it was edited out of order.
and then was fourth Brandon? Who was fourth?
Who's
Brandon was
Brandon?
fourth, I believe. um Yeah, I'm pretty sure Brandon came in fourth, unless maybe Derek did. I don't even remember if they showed that one, but um, yeah, it's just weird. I don't know why they would show Josh coming in later and Olivia coming in fourth when that wasn't the case. Seems kind of pointless to do that, but
Yeah, I mean, I wish that they would make that clear. That's kind of what I didn't enjoy about the challenge is I want to be able to tell how well people are doing when they're checking in and to be accurate information
Mhm.
because it's hard to figure it out, especially if they keep on mucking around with the order, you know?
Exactly.
So we have the daytime pool scene. Yay! They're at least they're having some fun. Norris is talking to Horacio. Basically, Horacio, because he was the winner, he's like, you can basically choose to go against whoever you want. Which
But that's not true.
I mean, is
Like
it true?
immediately when he said that, I was like, in what world do they think that Michelle will allow that? Like her thing is the social like she's not going to give that up. Like and I guess it's just because Horacio doesn't think about strategy in that way. But like
Yeah, he's
Olivia was
thinking
never
about
going to
like,
get
hey,
thrown in.
Maurice is our friend, our girl. Let her choose whoever she
Are
wants.
Michelle and Olivia really like best friends in real life?
Yeah, they even since Ride or Dies was airing, they were like traveling together and like being all
Okay.
besties.
Well, then fair. If she's not going to throw her in, she's not going to throw her in. They each get to pick one person. Then that's that, I guess.
Bananas though wants the relationships to stay in the game because couples that are in the game they never bode well. Do you agree with this rationale?
I mean, we don't get too many couples. I think Leroy and Cam did pretty well. I think CT and DM have definitely done well, although maybe more so as exes. But yeah, we don't get many actual couples. I mean, Jordan and Tori have done decently well. Cara and Polly. So I kind of disagree. I think couples have done fairly well. Brad and Tori won together. So yeah, I kind of disagree with that.
Josh, Jenny, and Theo are strategizing. Um, Basically, okay, I didn't actually write down what they said. So, do you remember what their Josh's thought process was? Was it to go for Theo to go against Polly because Polly is better connected? Is that what he said?
Because if Josh is gone, then they will gain the majority. Holly with Nerys and Horacio and Kyland. And then
Oh,
oh, Michelle will get scared and Olivia, and they'll do whatever they want, and then it'll build from there, and you're going to lose all your numbers.
Theo wants Polly though, so ever since he kissed him when they were butting heads, he's wanted to take him in an elimination. So he's probably going to get his chance. Then we see Leroy talking about his kids, and I wrote, "Uh-oh, this is almost like the Skype call. Like, is Leroy going home first episode, guys? He might, huh?"
He's probably gonna. He'll be going against Tony, who I think Leroy could beat Tony.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty evenly matched.
We haven't seen
depending on
Tony
what
that
it is.
much in the preview. Have we seen Leroy and stuff? I can't remember.
I don't know, but it does look like, I mean, if the men and women are doing the same eliminations, it looks like it'll be Leroy versus Tony and a balls in, and I definitely think Leroy could win that.
He better.
I don't want to lose Tony though.
I know.
This is the issue. Can we not lose like Casey and like? Can I just pick people from the same eras? Like the boring people.
We'll swap out who we'd rather.
Like
when we find out who goes
Aviv
home,
or-
we'll swap
yeah.
them. CT and Derek talk about Darrell and how Derek really wants to protect Darrell, and what does he owe Darrell about?
He
Like,
said it
what
was
is
something
it?
in his personal
I think
life,
it's personal
but they didn't
life.
really get into it. So yeah, it was like something Darrell helped him in his personal life. So now Derek feels like he owes him one.
But CT's
honestly,
worried about Darrell because Darrell really choked in the daily.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit of an overreaction from CT. I would not be that worried about Darrell. I mean, he like obviously isn't the same Darrell as he once was, but I still think he's like a pretty strong competitor. I'd be more worried about Brad than Darrell personally.
Mr. Disasters wants him to go against other eras, please.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be like the bottoms of each team. There's potential, but then it's like who you have to do some sort of situation, roll a dice or a vote where it's like, okay, it's era 1 bottom versus era 3 bottom and 2 versus 4 for this week. Okay, we're going to have 2 men, 2 women go home. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know how that makes sense in my brain now that I say it out loud doesn't make sense, but I just thought there would be a way where it's like the winner from this gets to pick who your loser goes against from this era based on like however they arbitrarily decide, okay, this era is against this era this time. And there's always going to be like a change depending on like as a whole, which era comes in first, second, third, fourth, as well as individual or something. And then like deciding who has to go against each other so that it's like, yes, the numbers won't be even necessarily, but like, like back in the day with like the gauntlets, how like one team could have 3 people in the end and one team could have 6. And like, there's pros and cons to both. And it's like a crapshoot. I don't know. I thought that would be cool, but I don't think that's how they're going to.
I think to me, like the simplest way they could do it while still having a twist here would just be last place from every era goes into elimination, but against the other eras. That way we're not losing 8 people. We're only losing 4 people.
Exactly.
But it's like, all right, so Nerys, Katie, Naya, and who's the other one? Nerys, Katie, Naya, and Kellyanne. So you 4 are last. Now we're going to roll a dice or whatever to determine who's going against who. 2 of them are going home. For the men, you have Leroy, Ryan, Mark, and Theo. 4 of you are going in elimination. 2 of you are going home. 2 are staying. Done. Like we lose 4 people. It's still kind of a twist there, but we're not losing 8 people at once. And now like having like so much power into 2 people's hands. So I think that would have been okay. I still wouldn't like it to lose 4 people at once, but it's better than losing 8 at once.
It's better than losing 8 at once, indeed. So Rachel and Mark are talking about the relationships that they have with people. And so Rachel is really connected with a lot of people, obviously, for the last 20 years. Mark is really connected to everybody. And so this is a difficult decision for Rachel because she doesn't know who to put Mark up against because she has relationships with everybody. And Mark doesn't really want to go up against anybody because of similar relationships. So they are in a bit of a conundrum for sure. So now there's a pleading that happens in the chamber. Do we like this new name for the deliberation as the chamber?
It's fine.
I guess it's fine.
They have a large timer. Did they mention how long the timer would go?
No, I don't think they mentioned the time there, but it was so funny that like it's just showing the same timer over and over. It's like this probably was filmed over like 4 hours, and they're just like showing like the one clip of the timer. So I thought that was funny.
Pretending it's like actually being honored.
Yeah.
It's kind of like on the traders, it was always like the countdown 5, 4, and apparently like there was no actual time being kept. So for era 1, Derek is just gonna step in for Darrell. And CT's pro tip is if someone wants to volunteer, let him. I mean, that's facts. You want to volunteer, go for it.
Exactly.
Era 2, if Ryan wanted to choose, it would be Brandon. And I'm like, whoa, I haven't seen him this episode. I literally at that point had forgotten that he was on this season.
That's the problem this season. There's gonna be some people that just get no airtime whatsoever because the cast is so large. So I guess like maybe the one benefit of losing 8 people at once is it will open up a little bit of airtime for others. But yeah, there are going to be people that just really fall like under the they're really going to fall under the radar here.
Yeah.
Era 3's talking, and Tony wants to throw Jordan, basically throwing Jordan under the bus, saying like Jordan is super strong, and you don't want to go against him in the final. Jordan comes back and says, but you're going to have to get to the final, and he's somebody that's strong, that's going to help them get there. And he also says that he will repay his debt. So if they scratch his back, then he will scratch theirs. But like, is there any world, do you think, where Tori does not keep Jordan in the game? And who's the other person? Devin? Like, those are they're staying. Sorry, Tony. Have they played on a season together? Yeah, they played on what, 30-30?
Doesn't matter. She'll never choose anyone over Devin and Jordan. I just hope one day she has to choose between them. That's all I can hope for.
That'd be great.
I think she would
choose.
Yeah, she would choose Jordan, I think.
Yeah.
The Jordan and Tori.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, like the era 3 stuff really pissed me off because, like, to me, like Corey comes across looking so weak here. Where, like, I honestly found myself agreeing with Tony more. And like not only because I like Tony a lot, but it's also like, yeah, like he is making a good point that one, like yeah, you don't necessarily want to take Jordan out right away, but I think like what Corey needs to understand is kind of what Amanda was saying as well. Hey, like I'm not insulated here, and neither is Tony. Like Tony, Amanda, and Corey are probably the 3 least insulated people on era 3. Everyone else is working together. Corey now has power that after this episode, he's going to cede that power over to Tori, Jordan, and Devin, and they're going to have all the numbers with Naya, Avery, John A. So the fact that Corey is seemingly letting Tori and Jordan dictate what he's doing when he finally has power is just, in my opinion, a horrible move. And that's not to say Jordan needs to go here, but why is there no consideration of getting Devin out here? Why would Corey not want to take the shot at Avery and take a number away from Tori, Jordan, and Devin? And regardless of what Jordan says here, Corey will be expendable to them when it comes down to it, because
always
Tori may not have to decide between Devin and Jordan, but at some point she'll have to decide between Corey and Devin and Jordan, and Corey will be the one seeing elimination. And he's going to regret going along with them right off the bat, in my opinion.
100%. And it's true what Amanda said. Like, they are on the outs at the end of the day. He's just less on the outs than her. And yeah, they will always get rid of him or put him in when they have the chance to save themselves. And he should put up a fight. It would be way more interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like even just thinking about it in like the purest form, it's like, all right, Tony goes against Leroy. Amanda goes against Naya. Amanda goes home. One of Tony and Leroy go home. The very next time Era 3 has to go on elimination, Tony or Leroy, whoever stays, is just going to have to go against Corey then, because they're not going to put in Devin or Jordan. So Corey is basically allowing himself to be the next targets. by going along with the plan that Tori and Jordan are implementing. So like it's just very basic, and Corey just doesn't seem to understand that. And again, like I think Corey is probably the best player to never win for the men, but like something like this is just like so boneheaded in my opinion.
But
And
that's
like we'll see how it works out. But
that's Corey's issue, is that like what Kay's saying here, that he never thinks strategically about the game, especially the relationship aspects. For the fact that, like, why isn't he noticing who has connections? Who, like, he only seems to understand, like, oh, this person is running the game, get him out. But he doesn't realize that they all have these small little armies of people that is what makes them so strong. And so, yeah, 100%. He should be thinking about, hey, I need to stay in this game longer. And if it comes down to getting rid of people, like, I don't want to be a thought here. I want you to get rid of people that he should want to get rid of people that are not going to choose him. Like, they're not going to choose him over everybody else. So, yeah, poor guy though. I think he'll learn the hard way again and again and again. Kay says this is why Corey has to rely on his physicality, because he's always playing checkers when the rest are playing chess. It's true. It's true. Okay, so Nerys wants to go against Olivia, and then we see Michelle crying. Why is Michelle crying? She's gonna make the decision, and it's not gonna be Olivia.
Yeah,
Kylan, like myself, didn't have any sympathy for Michelle.
Yeah, I love that because
it's
so
I
true.
like that moment with Kylan.
Yeah.
Zero sympathy. Like, stop crying, Michelle. You're gonna get what you want. Do you think Olivia's gonna go in against Nerys?
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think she will. Yeah.
You think that Michelle's gonna let that happen?
No.
I think like I don't think Horacio will allow Nerys to go against Jenny.
But he wanted her to go against Jenny.
But if Nerys says like I don't want to go against Jenny, I don't think Horacio will allow it.
But she's not saying that. I think that like Nerys, I don't know.
It's not good TV when it's like a hall brawl and she just like.
Well, the problem is Michelle. What Michelle's going to say is that's my one person that I'm not allowing, and then the idea would be,
I think Horacio will say, okay, then me and you will go in elimination. I think Horacio would rather go in elimination than send Nerys against someone she doesn't want. And then Michelle, and then I think Olivia will be like, I think Olivia will kind of like volunteer and say, you know what, if Nerys wants to go against me, I don't want to screw over Horacio here again. I'll go in against Nerys. And I think that's how it's going to start the next episode. Olivia's going to kind of volunteer to go in.
Haley,
or at least like accept that.
Haley thinks that Michelle was crying because she has to pick Olivia, or else she's going against her whole team.
No, I mean, she did say in the preview, I will do anything to take a stand if I have the power or whatever.
It's true.
I don't know. I mean, you know what? You saying that, I hope that that's what happens. I really hope that that's what happens. But I have
and then like
she's gonna be like, just put Jenny in, and it's gonna be Jenny. That's my guess.
No, I could see actually Horacio doing the stalemate, Michelle panicking, Olivia feeling bad that Michelle is panicking to save her, and just be like, it was my relationship with Nerys that I messed up. I need to go in and rectify the situation.
That's exactly what I think. I think it's gonna Olivia will let Michelle off the hook, go in elimination, and then that's how her and Nerys will start to make amends. Like we've seen that they're on good terms now through social media. I think after all this happens, I think Nerys and Olivia will have a conversation, and Olivia will apologize, and Nerys will accept the apology. They'll go into the elimination, and then I think they'll be okay from there, and it's just going to be kind of like water under the bridge in a way. But I think I mean, Michelle won't let herself go into elimination here. She's too smart for that, and I don't think Olivia will allow Michelle to take the fall for her either.
KB says, unfortunately, the preview was sort of a dead giveaway as to their elimination, at least. I think it was a hall brawl, which is like really annoying.
Yeah.
Really annoying, really annoying, really annoying. Okay, so era 2, Aviv is just happy to be there. She doesn't really have any vendettas. And then Cara decides to gas up Laurel and Bananas a little bit, and then she said that she's going to put her defenses down. She was second in this challenge. Like, she wants to work with them and wants them to choose to work with her. She's trying her best. She's not being whiny or anything like that. So I thought that she actually did a good job attempting to say, like, hey, let's play this game together and get us to the end. So, but yeah, like you're saying, it's not going to work, but I was hoping that it was going to. And then lastly, for this episode, era 1, Tina suggests that they should just pick the 2 bottoms. Anissa wasn't happy with that because she was in 4th place. And they decided that CT was going to handle the women, and Rachel was going to handle the men. And Anissa feels that this is basically Rachel allowing CT to put her in and protecting her. Yes. Well,
like, come on, of
her
course.
exes. She's supposed to protect her.
But like, she's not going to put in Tina. And it's between Anissa and who?
Jody.
And Jody. And Jody did better, and she knows that Jody essentially is a better person to have on the team. So yeah, it's super. Yeah, it's so classic Rachel. But yeah, of course, that's why. But yeah.
Well, that was the end of the episode.
Oh no, the end was actually Polly and Theo getting into it. So we did have that. That was the last scene.
I did actually write that on the next page.
Yeah. So we did have Polly. Theo basically said he wants to go against Polly. Josh was campaigning to get out of the elimination.
Why was Josh saying that he was an asset, though? What did he say?
Yeah, I didn't quite get. I think he was saying, like, was he saying because he had like allies in other eras? Which actually, to me should be more of a reason to want him out.
We want people,
and also
not
Josh
connected.
Josh is also kind of the weakest competitor there. So I think like Josh should have been the target, but I honestly do think Josh did a pretty good job this episode avoiding being a target when he should have been one. So yeah, it seems like we're gonna get Polly and Theo. Polly has acknowledged that and was getting into Theo's face there.
Oh, he's like, we could finish it in the sand.
Yeah.
Guys are such losers sometimes. And Theo's just like staring him down. If I could take you out, I will. And I'm just like, I mean, I get it, but I felt like this was like some weird MMA fight that was about to happen when they do like that stare down and like and we pretty much know that Theo's gonna be beating Polly. Like, sorry if that's a spoiler, but it's all over the trailers that they're going in against each other and that it's a hall brawl, and we see Theo and Olivia later on, unless that all happens the same day and it's like, the one night that they have together and Theo goes home. But I feel like we see him a lot in the season. So I think that Polly's Dunzos. I don't know why they need to spoil everything though.
Yeah, I don't know why they specifically showed them in that elimination. So I don't love that, because now we know what the eliminations are, and like once we find out who's going in them, you can kind of tell who's going to win. So yeah, I don't love that. Definitely, I mean, even if they didn't show it, I mean, I would assume Theo would smoke Polly in a hall brawl. He is almost double his size, so it would be pretty crazy for Polly to somehow win that. But yeah, I think Polly is not going to. Polly will not be feeling great after that hall brawl, because that's going to be a nasty collision for him.
Josh is the jail card for other eras, I guess. In the end, like, people would want to save Josh till like the right before the final to go against, so they can just take him out, get to the final. Hilarious. Okay, so let's just take a look at our drafts. Okay, so Michelle, we haven't talked about your draft. So you are the audience, the chat decided to name it Team Chaos. Do you like that name, or do you want to change it to something else? Have you been inspired for another name?
No, Chaos. I'm fine with Chaos. It's definitely like a mix of good and bad, because even this episode, like, I got points for Rachel. I got points for Horacio. But then I potentially could lose Kellyanne, Nerese, Brandon, Anissa, Mark, like, or not all of them, you know what I'm saying? Like Ryan, like I have so many potential losses. Ooh,
Oh, Dan is like so rude. So why is Chantele the host when she constantly needs Michelle and Matthew to explain everything to her? Is a bit, or does she really not understand what's going on and lacking in the knowledge? It's a fucking bit. I ask questions to talk about the episode, Dan.
yeah,
Man.
it's to prompt us to talk because she's good at hosting. Yeah, chaos is fine. I mean, maybe for next week if I think of something better, like more specific, I should say.
So you do have a few people that are on the button here, though, that you might be losing. So your team is Rachel. So she's going to be sticking around for a while. Derek C, he might stick around for a while. Kellyanne might be going home. Horacio might be sticking around for a bit, or people might be targeting him. I'm not sure how he's going to be in Era 4. Nerese might be going home. Brandon might be going home. Jody,
probably fine for now.
Probably fine, but Anissa might be going home. Ryan might be going home, and Mark might be going home.
Yeah.
My God, Michelle.
I stand by Derek C. Like he did so well on All Stars.
That's fine.
And he has the endurance. I understand he inevitably will get thrown in at some point, but I have a lot of hope for him.
Thanks, Kay. Thanks for standing up for me.
I think Derek C, the fact that he is most likely going to avoid this first elimination, I could see him really skating by for a while. He's just like the kind of guy, it's like nobody's going to want to throw him in immediately because he's just very friendly. He's not super threatening physically. So yeah, my worry with Derek was just like he could go home episode 1, but the fact that he's avoiding that, I think like now he actually could be pretty well set up, and he's someone that's going to be good at making friends. So I do like Derek a lot.
I think he's gonna stick around for a little while. And I want to see him do well as well, because you chose him pretty high for the fact that he had a great showing on All Stars 4, and so the fact that he didn't do that great this episode, but I do think that he's going to be able to shine a little bit later on. So Derek is still a good pick, Michelle. On my team, I think I have everybody sticking around. So I have Laurel, Jordan, John A, Bananas, Tori, Nehemiah, Olivia, maybe, Devin, Avery, and Brad. So I don't really have anybody in serious danger. Matthew has Amanda. CT, not in any danger. Jenny's probably going to stick around. Darrell sticking around. Michelle, 1. Corey, 1. Tina came 2nd. Tony, maybe you might lose. Katie, you might lose. And Josh should be okay. So you do have a few.
So literally everyone on my team is out on the chopping block. That is just great. Like if my team goes down to like 2 people.
I'm sorry. It'll be 3.
Yeah. I'll have at least 3 left.
Wait, you'll have left Rachel, Derek, Horacio.
Derek C.
Yeah, Horacio and Jody.
And
Anissa's probably going to stay against Katie if she's the one that goes in.
I mean, according to what? Like, if it's a hall brawl.
It's a hall brawl or balls in. I think those are the only 2 competitions. No?
If it's balls in, I'd put my money on Katie. Maybe.
Matthew, we lost Matthew, I think. You think that that she has just so much size that she can just like bat her out of the way and put the ball in, you know what I mean?
Yes. You know what? Yeah, probably. And Katie doesn't have as much drive to win.
Haley says, I'm actually so sorry, but if Michelle loses like 6 people at once, it's so funny.
Listen.
But Matthew was telling me that there was, I just don't really remember right now, I could be wrong, seeing balls in and hall brawl. I don't know if I remember seeing any other eliminations.
Oh, his computer died.
Pole wrestle.
Yeah, pole wrestler. Pole wrestle. I mean, I think if I'm making predictions as someone who doesn't know any spoilers, I have a feeling if I'm going to lose anyone, it's going to be Nerese, Kellyanne,
Natalia says
Mark.
Katie needs to go for her ankle.
Mark, and then Brandon or Ryan, whichever, Yeah, I'm gonna lose a lot of people.
I
Gonna
think
lose a
you're
lot
gonna
of
lose
people.
Brandon because I feel like we've seen Ryan later on in the season.
Yeah. Okay, so Matthew says his MVP is Laurel and CT.
Okay, I agree with that. Do you have any other takes?
Definitely CT. And yeah, I mean Laurel did win. So yeah, I guess I can't think of anyone else. Well,
Nobody else.
And she did do the best out of everybody in the challenge too.
And he did second best. She has all the power. So does he. Like I think that I can't see anybody. Chat, do you guys have any thoughts on anybody that might be more of an MVP than Laurel and CT here? And then lastly, I'll just say Fanta's team Matthew's team is called the team Devil Time. So referencing Amanda being the devil and Tony Time. And Fanta's team name is Team Clear Eyes and Full Hearts Can't Lose. She has Emily, Theo, who's coming back, Cara, Kyland, Naya. I mean, Naya's coming back because we see her making out with Kyland. Leroy, Casey, Derek K, Aviv, and Polly. So Fanta might lose a few people as well. That's insane that everybody's. Well, I'm sure not losing anybody, but it's insane that many teams are losing multiple people. That's whack.
Yeah.
That's whack. All right. Well, that is it. So MVP is Laurel and CT. Do you have any final thoughts on what happened this episode and how you think the season's going to go as a whole?
No, I mean, I'm sad to lose exciting people that I like. But I hope the whole season has a nice fast pace to it. And it'll be exciting to see what happens. And hopefully we don't just get stuck in the loop of Tori Jordan, Cara Laurel. Hopefully there are different things that we can focus on, as there are so many different people. And
well, there looks like there'll be a little bit of Tina Bananas,
which I'm pumped for because again, Tina cut from the same cloth as Amanda, or Amanda cut, yeah, I love it.
Well, it's really nice to get back at it with you being around. So thanks, Michelle. Do you have anything going on that you would like to share with the people?
Not anything too exciting at the moment. Just trying to catch up on all my shows. Trying to keep up with Big Brother, catching up on this. There's a couple shows I've been told to watch.
Such as
the Mole. Which Mole?
There's season 2.
I think
season 1's fun. Season 2, I didn't think it was super great, but
the new season of the Mole. Yeah,
just watch it. But AK wants to know, after we lose 8 people next episode, do you think that we will lose 4 players every episode? I think they'll go to 2.
I think it'll be 2 for a while, and then they'll do something closer to the final.
Fred says, I wish they waited till week 3 before a purge. That way that we could see how these teams work together. Absolutely.
I agree. 100%.
And then they would be able to tell who is actually a detriment to their team. Who, what if they had them working on teams together and doing a couple things to accrue some points? And then, then they have to decide as a team, who they're going to send from their team down in there. You know what I mean? And they had to come to a consensus as a team or something after they've watched each other work for a couple weeks. I don't know, something like that, where we could see them gel or not gel as a team. It sucks that we're just getting rid of sometimes some chaos, potentially some fights, it all sucks. But yeah, I would have rather waited a little while longer for a purge and just have a regular one male, one female for a couple episodes and then do a big purge, and maybe then a couple episodes, then do another purge. Maybe go that route instead of in the beginning, because that's boring. That sucks.
Exactly.
Sucks. Kay says, yeah, it would have been good nostalgia for long-term loyal watchers to see OGs for a bit longer too. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like this purge. I don't really like purges, but it's dramatic. It's part of the show. We have to lose players. I just wish it was happening later on the season. I never really like at the beginning of the game where people go home. It's just not fun for me. So that's why I can agree with you, Michelle, that there might be a redemption house here. So cross your fingers. And we'll see. Well, thanks again, everybody here in the chat. You guys are great for joining us here live. Please like this video and let us know your thoughts on this episode 1. How are you feeling about the purge? How do you feel about all the people that are potentially going home? How do you feel about Michelle's team being in danger right off the jump?
And nobody is surprised. Nobody is surprised.
I mean, you got some of your like high picks.
No, but in the moment, I always end up changing my list when I'm live doing it based on what happens. And so if that had been the case, I would not have ended up with this exact team. But it's fine.
I went through the order that she gave at the time.
It's fair. It's fair.
I couldn't really do anything.
I accept my fate.
No problem, Matthew. We will see you again next week. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody here in the chat. Like this video, comment below, and we'll see everybody next week. Bye, guys.